Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Father Talks podcast. I am your host, Mike D. I'm here with my very special guest, Mr. Ashton Stevens. Today, Ashton is an Atlanta-based alternative hip-hop artist, originally from the Florida Panhandle. Ashton, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you.
Hey, I am happy to have you. Like I was just saying offline, man. Hey, I was just listening to some of your music, and that song "Edge," man, that is amazing. I love it.
Really appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, I like to see young men out doing positive things. We don't like I said before, we don't get enough positivity, And so
I agree.
when I saw your profile and I saw everything that you were doing, I was like, listen, man, I want to talk to this cat so bad. So, man, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about you. What you got going on, what you're doing.
Yeah. So like you said, that's my whole goal of music, kind of just restoring more of the balance,
Yeah.
We all know it's a lot of negativity on there, like like negativity in general, but
Yeah,
amongst
okay.
young black men, it's like we're only displayed in like a certain light. And
Right.
I just want to do my best to tell my story and inspire others as well. But yeah, man, outside of music, of course I'm a father, entrepreneur. About last year, we started a insurance company. So me
Okay.
and my wife were also owners, principals of Stevens Wealth Solutions. So that's another thing I do outside of music.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it.
So yeah.
So, man, listen, and as we were saying, fatherhood, man, let me tell you, it is, that's what the show is about, man. But let me
Yeah.
tell you something. Fatherhood is the greatest gift that, God has given a man. I'm telling you, I love being a dad,
Yeah.
and it's got its moments. Me and my kids, we go through it sometimes, whatnot, have our little falling outs. My kids are older, but I would not go back and not be a dad. There's no way that I would
Yeah.
giving up fatherhood. How young is your baby?
So my son he just turned 2, but
Okay.
I'm also having my second son this June. So it's
Okay.
coming up. So he's gonna have his little brother soon.
Yeah.
And right now it's just how I get, it's that crunch time where
Oh
it's like
yes.
you're
Oh
preparing
yes.
everything, you're trying to get ready, and I'm also preparing my mind to be dealing with a toddler and a
Yeah.
newborn at the same time. So
Well, I can tell you what, man. Excuse me. I will say this about boys. Okay, boys are easy.
yeah.
Boys are way easier than girls. Okay, with boys, man, you just got to worry about them showering and breaking something.
Yeah.
That's it for the most of their life. That's all you got to worry about. You know, they get to be rambunctious as I don't know what,
Yeah.
but the biggest issue with boys, I mean, at least generally, my boys were. It was never a bunch of drama. They just wanted to go outside, and I'm like, look, man, you back in the house. You're not getting in that bed before you shower. But man, I'm like, get your butt in the shower. So, that and deodorant, man, I'm telling you, that is it when it comes to
Yeah.
boys. Breaking something, my son broke his wrist. And, outside of that, the boys, they just hurt each other for the most part.
Yeah, for sure. I kind of expected it. Like my son reminds me a lot of me when I was younger, and
Okay.
I now it's people just can't tell from my demeanor now because I'm a lot more chiller and calmer. But when I
Right.
was young, I was a wild one too. I was outside, always running, getting into something, and so my son is like that. And I know my wife's like, "Where in the world this come from?" And my mom said, "Like, yeah, he was
Yeah.
just like that." And I'm like, "Yeah, I definitely was." Like he reminds me of myself in that aspect.
That's
So
good,
I
though.
kind of prepared for that, and a lot of my homeboys, I'm like the last of the Mohegans with the kids. So
Okay.
all of my homeboys, they all had kids before me. And so all of them had girls. And so they always gave me the girl.
Woo.
They were like, bro, the girls is like, trust me, girls is it's different with the
It's,
girls. They're like
it,
the
it is. It
boys,
is.
it's easy.
It
But the
is. I
girls,
am telling you. My girls, I mean, listen, I love them to death, but oh my goodness, listen, this beautiful head of hair that I don't have anymore,
yeah.
all girls, you know, all girls, you know. I mean, but again, I love them. I'm not
yeah.
complaining and
What was
whatnot.
that?
It's that bunch of daddy's girls for the most part. When we're not fighting, and I'm not getting up under their skin for something. But for the most part. The girls are great.
Of
Very
course.
very strong young women. Very opinionated. Um, that's my fault, I'm pretty sure, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question.
Hmm.
Who is Ashton Stevens behind the
Hmm.
music, before the stage, the
Hmm.
songs, and the public image? Who are you? You know, who is that guy at home?
At home, that guy is first and foremost a man of God. I put that before anything. Point blank, period. And I feel like that is leading by example.
Okay.
And he's also my family would say I'm pretty disciplined.
Okay.
I don't really feel like it, but I think it's just I think I kind of realized early that we as humans we're creatures of habit, and
Right.
so I've grew up in my life seeing a lot of addictions in a lot of different ways, and so
Okay.
I kind of peep early how we can have implement habits, and I kind of I've had different addictions of my own, and so I realized it's like, yo, in order to improve your quality of life, you cannot really just take these things and leave them absent. You kind of have to implement different cycles, because I kind of feel like we're kind of creatures of cycles. So it's like
Yeah.
I have a creature of routine. My wife picks on me all the time. She's like, "You have your same routine." I'm like, "This is what keeps me sane." You
I
don't understand.
Yeah.
I have my I guess at home, I'm pretty disciplined in my own routine. A father, obviously, and everything that entails with that. I'm full time, one
Right.
household father, and husband, as well. And I just try my best to be the best version of myself and
Right.
give my house the best version of myself.
Amen to
Um,
that. I'm not
yeah.
listening. How long have you and your wife been together?
So we just celebrated 11 years married.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
If I can give you
Obviously,
any
we
piece
got together when we was young, so
That's all right. Hey, that don't mean nothing. That don't mean nothing. And
yeah,
I try to, if I can give you any piece of advice, no matter what happens in your marriage, it would be to continue talking.
for
You
sure.
absolutely continue talking. The minute y'all shut down and stop talking, regardless of how difficult the situation is,
Mhm.
that is the beginning of the end. That and letting outside people have a say on what's going on inside of your house.
Yes.
As long as you keep them things separate, and continue to talk to your wife first,
Mhm.
things will be great.
Nah,
They won't always be easy, but they will be great.
yeah. I definitely appreciate that
Oh
advice.
no,
That's
absolutely.
something we learned early, especially the
We do.
outside influences. It's like, okay, because even your own family, you're
Oh,
so
for
used to
sure.
having your family a part of it, and then we realize quick, like, oh no, your family cannot be a part of your relationship. Like,
It's a
it doesn't
fact.
work.
And it's a lot of people. I'm dealing with a young man right now who's going through the same thing, where his significant other's family just keep trying to weigh in on their marriage and
Mm,
how they're raising their child. Like, y'all need to keep that on the outside, because at the end of the day, when push comes to shove, it's only going to be the two of y'all.
yeah.
So all right. So moving forward, growing up in Florida,
Hmm.
now building your life in Atlanta, what experience shaped you, from there, from point A to point B, today?
Yeah, a lot, especially growing up where I'm from. I'm from a small town, so
Okay.
most people don't even when you think of Florida, they don't even think of that Panhandle. They go straight to like Miami and South
Right.
Florida and kind of really just go gloss over everything and just assume that it's nothing else, no other part of Florida. You talk to somebody from Miami, they're gonna tell you there is no other part of Florida. It's only
Right.
Miami. It's only South Florida. No other part of Florida exists. But now we do is this. I'm from a small town outside
Right.
of Tallahassee. It's called Marietta, and growing up there, I feel like it definitely brings you humility, because not being from a big city, everything is so family oriented. But when people see people from these rural areas and they think like, oh, it's nothing that really goes on here. It's just a beautiful, nice place. And no, I deal growing up with everything that everybody in the city deal with. But to me, honestly, it's a little bit worse, because you get into being a teenager, let's say we're teenagers and we get into it with these guys over here, we don't
Right.
have no other way. We're gonna eventually all run into each other. Everybody knows everybody. So everybody knows where everybody hangs out, everybody. So it kind of, in a sense, when things do happen, it is far and few in between, but when they happen, they're very big. They're very,
Right.
like, it's explosive. You know what I'm saying? So it goes down where I'm from too, for sure, for
Yeah.
sure. But compared to the city, obviously it's not as much, it's not as many people. And just observing people kind of taught me how to move, honestly. If I could say anything from where I'm from that's taught me the most, is just being observant.
Yeah.
Observing, the older generation that came before me, observing older cousins. I don't necessarily have an older brother, but
Yeah.
I had older cousins, and it was a big gap in my family up
Okay.
until me. So everybody up until me is like 5 to 10 years older. Like, even the cousins, they like, I
Right.
got cousins that's like in their like 60s, 70s, like second cousins. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Because my auntie, I mean my grandmama, she's like the auntie to everybody, but they had a huge family, and my
Right.
grandmama was the youngest. So she had a lot of nieces and nephews, and their parents weren't alive. So she took a lot of people in. So I have a lot of older cousins that were like, kind of they're cousins, but they play more like an auntie uncle role in a
Yeah.
sense. You know what I'm
Oh, yeah.
saying? And so I got a lot of wisdom from them, for say, as well, but also observing their lives as well, like
Yeah.
kind of peeping how they move. And I would definitely say that helped me. But moving to, obviously, to Atlanta was a huge culture shock. I'd say Atlanta, if nothing else, it taught me that Black entrepreneurship is a real thing. It's possible.
Right.
Because coming where I'm from, you didn't see it at all. Like, not
Okay.
in a good way. You seen entrepreneurs, but they weren't doing it in the
Right.
correct way. But even that, it kind of taught me of like, okay, this is how you actually run a business and structure a business. I always had music as a passion, but
Right.
when I moved to Atlanta, I learned how to move as a business, like carry yourself as a product. You know what I'm saying? Present yourself as a product. Build a team around you. You know what I'm saying? That has the same mindset that you have, and not try to do everything yourself. Somebody wise in the business taught me that. He was like, yo, somebody that can do something better than you, put them in position to do it. Don't try to do everything for yourself. Do what you're
Right.
good at. Do what you know your purpose is, and don't stretch yourself so thin if you don't have to. Obviously in the beginning, you have to do a lot more. But as you
Okay.
begin to have more resources, be able to build a team, meet people, put people in position. And it also taught me how to network being here.
Yeah.
Like, where I'm from, everybody is very like standoffish and clicky. Like, we
Yeah.
have our clique, we have our resources. We're not sharing this. We don't want anybody else to be a part of it. It's very crabs in a bucket.
Yeah.
And then moving to Atlanta, everybody is like, oh, what do you do? You do music? Oh, my cousin's, he's a producer, or he's da 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 da. And they
Yeah.
just start connecting and linking. And before you know it, you've met one person and you met 10 people in the same field as you. So it's like learning how to not be afraid to put yourself out there and go on network, and
Right.
put your best foot forward, present yourself. You don't have to overdo it. You don't have to be something that you're not. But just simply telling people what you do can,
Yeah.
open the
And
room.
do you find that it's more a cultural thing that, okay, so for instance, a lot of times, I've run into some older Black people,
Hmm.
talking with my family, you're talking with, just people I know. And I found that our generation, or well, the younger generation, younger than, my uncles and them are 60s and 70s years old and whatnot. I'm in my 50s. But I find that we don't lean on each other as much as we used to.
Hmm.
Is that so? Was that the case where you grew up at?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Even for my generation, it was the same. We don't lean on each other. I think if anybody that I would say has it generationally together a little bit more, I would definitely say the younger generation under me.
Yeah.
They're really good, but they grew up in like social networks, so their
Right.
whole
Okay.
life is based around networking. You know what I'm saying? Which it has its own challenges of its own, but they don't have a problem communicating with each other, leaning on each other, sharing
Right.
resources. I think like my generation is kind of like the last of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's also definitely very much a culture thing. I think from where I'm from, just moving from here to there, I can see the differences in it. Like people, I think um Atlanta has a lot more resources. I
Okay.
think the mindset and the way people grow up here, they experience in kind of like two sides of things. They don't, not saying that it's like not people that don't have not, it's people that definitely don't have not, but I think they're they depend on each other a lot more here. And it's
Okay.
just, and it could just be in the music field. It's just, it's always a lot. It's a lot going on. So it's like you don't really have to hold no resources or anything. Like
Mm,
versus where I'm from, is music opportunities is scarce to none. You know, it's becoming more now, but
right.
me growing up, you didn't see that. So people that did have anything going on, they either wanted to show it off on everybody that they felt like doubted them and hold it away from it's just very crabs in a bucket is what I noticed.
Yeah.
And you know, moving here, it surprised me of how open people are when it comes to sharing resources. So I think it all kind of plays a part. I think it's generational, and I think it's culture as well, like the
Right.
area from where you're from. Because I've heard people from different areas too that they said the same thing. I've talked to people in Cincinnati in a whole different field, in the insurance field, and they like, yo, it's different here. Like we actually help each other here. Like we
Right.
don't do that where I'm from. And I'm like,
See,
okay, so I'm not tripping. Like,
yeah, and see, when I lived in North Carolina for a little while, and let me tell you something, man. That was probably some of the most friendliest people I have ever met before. You know, and I'm seriously considering moving back because you know it just you could be pulled over on the side of the road. People will stop. Just, hey, man, you need a hand. You guys good?
yeah,
You
true.
got people in my neighborhood. You know, like when I first moved in, everybody came out to talk. I'm like, hey, how you doing? We just want to, introduce ourselves. You know, if you be outside doing something, people, if you could be doing something with the wrong tool, and somebody be like, hey, man, I got this and make it that job easier for you. I'm thinking like, you talking to me?
What?
But yeah, super friendly. So I mean,
Yeah,
I like hearing that about Atlanta. I'd actually I probably about 4 years ago I was in Atlanta, and my son was there for a football tournament, and it was listen, it was a good time, and I can
yeah.
tell you right now, I was in Georgia for basic training,
Mhm.
and let me tell you, Georgia is hot.
Oh
Georgia's
yeah,
a different kind of hot, man.
oh yeah.
Lord
What
have mercy.
what part did you grow up in?
Oh no, I'm not from Georgia. I was just there visiting.
I mean, like what
So
what
I'm
part?
just outside of Atlanta. I'd have to ask my son where the hell that tournament was at. It's been so
Oh,
long.
I mean,
But
like yourself. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Trenton, New Jersey.
Trinity.
And so
Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It
So
would be very hot.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. And now right now I'm in Detroit. You
Sure. Oh
know,
yeah, yeah,
and Detroit gets it's a smoggy kind of weather. Like it don't get super hot, but when it does get hot, it's like you can't even breathe out here. It's just yeah, it's construction season and it's
yeah.
winter time. That's it. That's it in Detroit.
Sheesh.
So, but I mean, Detroit's come up a lot, man.
Yeah,
It's a place where, what, if you decide that you want to go down to the city and hang out, you know what, it is really coming up. It's beautiful. I go down there really with my kids, and we just, hang out, walk around, go to
yeah,
places, go out to dinner, different places, but Detroit is definitely on its way up. So,
yeah. That's
um,
definitely cool.
so talking about your music,
Hmm.
your music, from everything that I saw, your music is rooted in faith, it's rooted in fatherhood and real life pressure, you know. So is there something that kind of made that, pushed you in that direction? Was it a life experience, just how you grew up, you
Hmm.
know?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of all of it. My music has always been a reflection of myself, and I always been around music though. My
Okay.
my grandmother, she was an opera singer, she was a choir singer. My dad
Oh,
was a
okay.
choir director, he was a drummer. Had my auntie, she was a gospel singer. And a lot of my older cousins rap. So I kind of was always around music
Okay.
itself. So that kind of had a easy way in, especially when I found out that I could actually rap. I was pretty good at making music. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, this is something I like to do. Especially when you're a teenager, you're just trying to
Right.
find the thing you good at. Like, I'm like, okay, basketball, nah, it's okay. Football, I'm not that good at football. Let's try rap. And then you try rap and you be like, oh, I'm actually pretty good at this. So I
Right.
think, coming from where we're from, it's a lot of sports. So at first it just was the competitive mindset of me. I just want to be the best that I can be at it. And then eventually it turned into like once I started hitting like the high school era, you actually start going through real life things. And it turned into like an outlet. So I was like, oh,
Right.
I actually like make this very therapeutic to me outside of just, impressing people with it. And
Right.
it's always been that reflection in a sense. I think just the way my life has changed, the music changes with this, because obviously I'm not the same 16, 17-year old.
Right.
My music kind of grows with me. And then I think it was a turning point of when I was about to quit. And I was about to quit because at the time, the way I was living, my music was reflecting that, but I didn't like the influence it was having. I was
Right.
watching the influence and I'm like, I don't really like that.
Yeah.
Obviously I'm working on myself. I'm trying to change, but I'm not there yet. And I don't like the influence that it's having on people. Because at this point in my life, I already had friends that had kids, I had nieces, I had nephews. And so it was people that was obviously gonna naturally be influenced by what I was putting out there. And then, I was about to quit. And then the moment when I said I had quit, it was a lot of people that came and it was like, yo, uh, you don't understand the motivation that you're giving people.
Right.
There's no way that you can quit. And I was like, okay, so I felt like this is God talking to me. So if I'm gonna move forward in music, then I have to change my life. You know what I'm saying? That's
Right.
when I began to work, working on myself, and I felt like God was working on me. And then at that point, I brought to what people see my music as today. That's what it turned into now.
Right.
Because for me, I can never not be authentic in it. I'm always gonna represent where I'm at in my real life, and
Yeah.
the music is just a reflection. Like they say, art imitates life,
Yeah.
and so that's always been a kind of key strand in my DNA in my
Right.
music journey. And now it's just this is where I'm at in life, and so the music just represents that.
Well, and you seem like a genuinely down to earth guy. You seem very honest and very humble. You didn't come on here, but hey, I'm that ish. I'm this. I'm that. So I appreciate that, and
Yeah,
that makes me even more excited about this. About your journey because you know what you're doing. Faith based music. I'm seeing more of it. And for me, I like it just because there's some rap I like, some not a fan of just because of the negative image, and
yeah,
stereotypes it portrays. So listening to, like I said, listening to Edge, I was like, man, this is fire because you are getting a real you're telling the story, and
yeah.
that I think that's kind of some like some of the stuff that music is missing, because it's a real story behind it. I'm like, yo, this I love this, you know. So I all I can tell you, man, is just please keep doing what you're doing because we need more of this imagery, this type of music, you know, and you know, as a father, as an older gentleman, let me tell you something. I love this. I mean,
Yeah,
I'll play this in my car at high volume and be, hey, I'm not ashamed. Not at all. So,
I appreciate that.
um, oh no, man, listen, the pleasure is mine. Trust me when I tell you. Um, all right, so let's move forward a little bit. Let me see. What does emotional regulation mean to you in real life, especially for a man,
Mhm,
who you've been under a lot of pressure,
mhm.
every day, just being a man. So emotionally, how do you regulate yourself when you're at home, when you're stressed? You know, how do bring yourself down?
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
for me, like I said, I said before, I'm a person of discipline, and
Okay.
that's also has to deal with emotional regulation as well.
Yeah.
Because I notice when I'm not implementing certain things into my day, like not properly taking time to myself, not meditating, not praying, not just doing mental inventory of how I'm
Yeah.
feeling. I notice that I react differently throughout the day.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
and so I journal. That's another thing
Yeah.
I use too. It just makes me more self aware. But
Okay.
I think as growing up as a child, I dealt with a lot of anger issues,
Mm.
and a lot of people they say it and it sounds cute, but when it's like real issues, it's not fun because I don't like being angry. I don't
Yeah.
like the way I react when I'm angry. I don't like things that happen out of anger. I don't, just growing up seeing certain things. I don't like even people in certain situations around me where it's uncontrollable. You know what I'm saying? Because
Right.
I've seen things happen in front of me that's like it kind of has an effect on you. Um, and so as you hit a point in maturing, it's like it's either gonna go one way or the other, you know what I'm
Right.
saying, and dealing with that type of anger. And so I've learned early that okay, you have to learn how to control it. That was the first thing I tried to do, was control my anger. And I realized like that doesn't really work that well when I'm angry. So it kind of came to a point of, okay, why do you get to this point? What is driving you to this point?
Mm,
What, going to the root of things. And and by my 20s, like I'll say, around my early 20s, mid 20s, I learned like it's probably best for me not to get to that point. So let me take steps to prevent myself to even getting to that point. And I think from there, that's kind of how I learned the start and basis of like what emotional regulation is. Because I kind of asked me, kind of just asking myself, like, what is this pouring out? Why does this pour out in the first place? One, okay, you're not properly communicating. That was the first things I learned. You don't know how to communicate. So what it really is, you're really feeling something and you're trying to let it out, and you're not trying to communicate, but you don't know how to properly communicate the way you're feeling. So it's kind of
right.
like learn how to communicate. And when you learn that, it's kind of like, oh, it's not even that deep. It's just communication. And again, growing up, seeing certain situations, you'd be like, yo, this could have been diffuse so quickly if we just had proper communication. Like
Yeah.
even stuff I got into, I'm like, this probably could have just been one conversation and this would have been over with. Like,
Oh man, let's
and,
go. Let's
so
go.
like you just learning like, okay, this all stems down to emotions. And I
Yeah.
feel like as a man, when you're not properly regulating it, the consequences are greater for us,
Yes.
because we only know certain ways. We only know certain, things. And it's like, well, if it ain't this, then it's this. And I always
Right.
tell people, I'm like, I'm either here or there. I don't really have an in between. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I'm either defusing and or it's a situation where it's a life or death situation. If it's not that, then it's no middle piece for me.
Right.
It's like anything else can be solved with a conversation. It should never be that deep the way I feel.
Right.
And I notice when I'm lashing out, especially as a parent, it really comes apparent when you're a parent, because it's like you can see when you're lashing out on the chat. You're
Yes.
like,
Yes.
oh man, this is a toddler. He doesn't know. He's not
Right.
supposed to know this stuff. It's you. You anger. You're in a different state today. So
Yeah.
you
No,
makes
that's
you
a
go to
fact.
yourself and like, yeah,
Yeah, and it's crazy, man, because like I'm excited, hearing you talk, about keeping your emotions in check now, because I'm 52, and these are strategies and things that I've just learned, you know, in the last few years, learning how to, communicate better, how to, hey, my the reason I had this outburst wasn't for this particular situation. It's something else going on altogether, you know. And because I never learned how to express myself, because my generation, it was always, boys don't cry, boys don't do this, men don't do that,
hmm,
and so you're stuck in this little box where you're either in a good mood or you're mad. That's
yep,
it. You know, there was no crying, none of that stuff. And I'm 52 years old, man. I haven't cried in almost 20 years.
yeah,
And but like I tell everybody I talk to, that is something I am trying to get in touch with, because the amount of stress that you release, you know, shedding a tear sometimes,
yeah, for
is
real,
is amazing. It's astronomical, and the fact that some men still can't do it, that's a problem. But and again, if you don't cry, and maybe there's another way that I also go to the gym. That's my other way of dealing with whatever I'm dealing with. But I try to tell everybody, the entire purpose of even doing this podcast was so men had a space where we, this conversation we're having here,
yeah,
where I'm talking to somebody who is definitely younger than I am, but I'm getting an education because I see that, there is hope for us, because just in the way that you carry yourself, I'm like, yes, you know what? There's hope for young men that look like me, that look like
yeah,
my son, that,
for sure,
that look like, these other little black boys and girls out there. There's hope for us, because I see it right now. You
yeah,
know, it ain't the news dictating, our conversation. It's me and you having a conversation, and I can see, hey, it's hope for us.
for sure.
Um, so moving on, what are some signs that a man is emotionally overwhelmed, even when he is still showing up for everything he's supposed to do every day?
Yeah, I think the earliest sign obviously is when you're acting outside of yourself. When you notice things that it's like, yo, I usually don't do this. I usually don't say this. I usually don't react this way. Like, what's going on? I think that's one thing. And like I said, as a parent, the easiest sign for me is right in front of me. I see how I react with my children. So it's like
Yeah,
I know I usually have a lot more patience with this. Outside forces, dealing with outside people, having more patience for things that don't usually bother you begin to bother you. It
right,
seems like everything is out to get you. Everything is out to ruin your day. Everything is out to everybody that speaks to you, it seems like you're reading into it's like, yo, what do you really mean by that? Like, and he
right,
just may say something simple to you, but you overreading it and he be like, what do you mean by that though? Like, it's just like I always it's a saying they have like I got time today. It's when you got a lot of time today. That's when
yeah,
you kind of can tell like, you got time for a lot of the negative stuff today. Like it's an early sign of it. And I think for me that's usually my signs I can tell like, okay, I need to take a moment because I'm
yeah,
obviously not in the right place or the place that I should be. I think it just seems like everything just agitates me,
yeah,
and it can be the simplest things. And I know they're not things or people that have bad intention, things I know for a fact. And it's like, okay, why is this bothering me like this? It's not them, it has to be you, and I think that just having just that mirror to yourself
yeah,
does a one like, it does wonders for you. Just holding up a mirror to yourself sometimes. Cause I think sometimes we just get caught in as men, we are objective based. We go through the day, gotta do this, gotta do that. This
yes,
is tomorrow. This is the win. This is third.
yeah,
Like, you know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
it's so easy to kind of get caught in that and not really, doing some inventory as well. Like, okay, how you feeling today? I remember my wife used to ask me a question. It used to aggravate me so much. It's a simple question. How you feeling today? And I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I'm thinking I'm trying to get this done and that done. Like, you ask me about my feelings. Like, I don't want to talk about my feelings. But then I start actually realizing the reason why she's asking that
yeah,
because she realized like, okay, as a man, you don't really think about that, and you should actually think about it a little bit more. Not saying that you got to constantly be every day like,
yeah,
let me see how my feelings are. Like, no, it's just,
yeah,
take a little time, throughout the day and just kind of just sit and just sometimes just think to yourself, just kind of go through your day, you know, oh, that was interesting that happened to me today, or I did this and I probably could have handled this situation a little bit better, and I think that kind of goes a long way. I think it is a balance because you spend too much time in your head. That's the issue too. I dealt with that too as well. Just kind of like having to learn how to get out of my head and live in the moment, live like, in the real time.
exactly.
So I think it's just that and just balancing it, man.
Yeah, that's outstanding, man. Hey, so listen, real quick, I got to ask you. I know we brought it up earlier, but I got to ask you about it again. Okay,
Yeah.
so the song "Edge."
hmm
Okay, what inspired you for that song? Listen, see,
It's
let me cut
it's
this man off real quick.
yeah,
Listen, y'all, for y'all, for all those, blah, 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 for all of y'all listening right now, please, if you do nothing else after you listen to this episode, check out this song "Edge" by Ashton Stevens. Okay, man, it is amazing. I know. Listen, I'm gonna listen to some more of his music, but this is the one song I can tell you that I have listened to honestly like 5 times.
man,
So
that's real.
I am telling you, listen to that song. All right, I'm sorry for interrupting
Nah,
you.
you
Go ahead.
good, you good. It's kind of like two stories to it
Okay.
because it's something that inspired the sound of it, and then it's another piece that was the actual what the song is about.
Okay.
It started with just how I wanted the song to sound though. It was I was listening to a lot of R&B, and it's
Okay.
kind of like a tactic or a trick that I noticed a lot of R&B artists use where they kind of like the song would be like one speed, but they'll record their voice in like a slower speed, like,
Okay.
and then they'll take the whole song and kind of speed the BPM up, and it does like a certain effect on your voice without having to
Oh,
like
okay.
add actual effects. So that was the original idea, and that's why the hook, like the part of the piece, it sounds the way it sounds. It was meant to
Okay.
sound like that on purpose. And I was like, y'all really want to make a song with that, but it was really just me trying something out because I wanted to see
Yeah.
how my voice would sound. I never really tried that effect in my voice. So I was like, I wonder how that would sound on my voice.
Mm,
And so I just went in and just freestyle something on the mic. And it just started coming together. I started freestyling. It's my life. You know, tell me how to live it. And then I just came in, start adding more vocals. And I'm like, ooh, that's pretty cool. And so, me and the producer, we started working on it and he put the track together.
yeah.
But it was just that part of the song. And I sat and I didn't know where to go from there. I'm like, I don't know where else to go with this song. And I went and actually listened to what I said because I really wasn't paying attention to what I was saying at first. I was just really just freestyling, and I went and listened to what I'm saying. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm saying I'm on the edge right. I'm like, then it was a piece of like me analyzing myself, like, why did I say that? Why did that come out my mouth? And like me realizing like where I'm at in life, you know what I'm saying, and what's going on. I remember being in so many transitions at the time, like I was about to move. I had a baby on the way. There was things going on in my career. There were people around me that we wasn't seeing eye to eye, you know, and it really had me at a point of like a boiling point, you know what I'm saying? And so I was kind of like thinking on that. I'm like, okay. And I still couldn't really come up with the lyrics. And so I went to the gym, I worked out one day, and I was just like, I'm just gonna write. And whatever it comes out, I'm gonna go with it. Wherever this pen leads me, I'm gonna follow that direction. And when I started it, you know, I started the verse. I'm on the edge of my nerve. Please don't push him on the edge of the curve. That was the first thing I wrote, and I
Yeah,
kind of just went from there. I just took it and just it probably took me like 15 to 20 minutes from that point, and just went. And it was like the rest of the song. And when I got to the end of the song, I knew that it was supposed to be more of a positive wrap up. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Because I did want to end it off on like a my goal was to let people know like, yo, even though you feel this way, it's okay to feel this way. It's not okay to allow this to determine your actions though. You know what I'm saying? Even though you may internally feel this way, it's not okay to act off these actions. You know what I'm saying? I'll act off the way you're feeling, you know, just off
okay,
that. Don't
okay,
let your
yeah,
circumstances define you, you know, and I originally was just gonna come on the mic and just say that. But then as I got on the mic, I started speaking and it was like poetic. And it was I was like, oh, so I don't know what I'm finna say next. And so I just didn't want to cut it off. So I just kept talking and it ended up being a poem at the end, you know,
right,
because poetry is actually the first thing I started. Like I started poetry before I rap. You know what I'm saying? And so it just they kind of go hand in hand for me. And
mm,
so when I did it at the end, it just turned into a poem. I'm like, yo, I'm keeping that. Like and you know, from there the producer kind of he did his twist. He added, you know, certain things to it, certain
yeah,
elements. We kind of bounced back and forth on it, and that's how the song came together. You know,
yeah.
me and
Listen,
my
yeah,
wife, we came up with the aesthetic and the
yeah,
look that we wanted for it. And you know, we knew the look, we knew what we was going for, we knew the color scheme,
yeah,
and we bounced back and forth with the videographer. He came, he understood the assignment, he shot it within an hour and some change,
yeah.
and that was it.
Well, because I can tell you, I remember I was watching the video on Instagram, and I was just scrolling through some of your stuff and everything, and I saw you in the parking garage. I'm like, what is this? All right, and I clicked on it. I'm like, okay, let's go. So, listen, it's nice. It's nice, man. I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to listening to some more of your music and that. Let me ask you, you know, because hey, obviously, you know, we're you're a faith-based artist. You
Mhm.
know, what would you say faith has saved you from?
Oh man, faith has saved me from literally turning like life direction, like literally changed the whole trajectory of my life.
Okay,
Faith has literally like, for one, it's kept me going, you know, because, you know, we use the word faith. Faith is, um, believing in something that's not physically seen, you know what I'm saying? Not physically here. And if you say you believe in God, it's impossible to say, oh, I believe in God and not have faith. It's like, well, okay, so you believe in God, you don't have faith. So God's right in front. You can see him, you can touch him. That's what you're telling me.
right,
No, you have to have faith to believe in him. That's the only way to believe in him.
right,
And just faith itself has been like the blueprint of everything. Like I wouldn't even have made it to Making Edge if it wasn't for faith, because I would have ended my career a long time ago. Because I
right,
wouldn't it's no way I could have foreseen this coming. But you know, it also changed my life in a sense of, you know, the way I was living my life, day by day, and not really caring about what the futures hold for me. You know, I mean, it affected decisions that I made. I didn't make decisions like, yeah, I'll be alive tomorrow. Like if you ask me at like 16, 17, you know, what do you want to do for your future? Of course, I would say rap because I love the rap. But to
right,
be quite frankly with you, I would have told you like, bro, I just want to make it to 21.
right,
That was literally like when people ask me, I'd be like, I just want to make it to 21. If I can make it to 21, it's almost past my expectations in my life for right now. And that's why I understand a lot of the younger generations when they make certain decisions that a lot of people don't understand. They like, yo, he just did this. That's crazy. How can you do this? Or how can you? And I'm like, it's because they don't love themselves. It's like you're
right,
not thinking about yourself. You don't have a certain faith in yourself. So you don't even believe that you can become anything. So how you expect them to live their life in the way they treat other people? Like, I understand that mindset because I was there at one point in time where I
Yeah.
didn't really care about, like, what my future would be like. I didn't care for myself. So I didn't feel like no one cared for me. So how would you expect me to live my life, until you find out like, okay, there is a being that does love me, you know what I'm saying? And it changes the whole way you view people, the whole outlet, the choices that you make. And you realize like your choices have effect on other people outside of yourself. Because
Mhm.
the choices just affecting me. I didn't care. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. It affect me. I'll take whatever. I make my decisions. I'll live with it. But then you look around and you realize that, like, they're affecting people around me though. Like they're affecting, the way things. It's not just yourself. You're not just making decisions for yourself. And I think that kind of changed the whole way I looked at life from that point.
Right. Well, listen, man, that again, faith is it's not new to me, but it is something that I've gotten back in touch with recently. You
Yeah.
know, I've told many guests before that I've never not had faith in God. I've never I lost faith in in the people who used to preach God's word.
Mm,
Because I would see people just doing. I mean, you send Monday through Saturday, then show up to church preaching to me on this, that, and the other thing, and I'm like, how is that right or just? But you
yeah.
know, I talked to somebody who was like, but it's not our place to judge. You know, let they've got somebody they got to answer to. You
Yeah.
know,
That's
you
facts.
you focus on you, and you do right. And as long as you continue to do what you're supposed to be doing, you can't be, you can't force other folks to do, live the way you live, or
Yeah.
make the
Yeah.
same effort that you're making. So,
Yeah. And
yeah,
and I think the thing like a lot of people don't realize is like it's more personal than it is outwardly. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
I grew up in the church, like
yeah,
heavily. And it still didn't like kind of changed my view. It still didn't course me to God. If anything, it drew me away in a sense,
okay,
because I'm watching things behind the scene. Like you said, I'm watching how people really living.
yes,
I'm watching, people that don't have much and they're being poured into a greed system. You know what I'm saying? I'm watching this as a kid, I'm analyzing this. And it's like, yo, this can't be the God that they talking about. Like,
no man,
and it's like
that's it,
I think for me, it took for me to really have a experience with him in first person.
yeah,
And one thing I realized was a lot of the ways people view God is totally wrong. And like I said, and people ask like, well, how do you step into this world? How do you push in? I tell like everybody got their grace. I'm not an evangelist. That's not my grace. I tell people all
right,
the time, like, that's not my grace. I'm not gonna be the one that's gonna be telling you like, yo, you need to go to church. You need to da 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 da. I'm gonna tell you, listen, God is real. You don't believe me, go see for yourself. And it's simple as that. And somebody told me simple as that. And that's what made, I was like, he said, yo, if you don't think he's real, you've been asking everybody about him. Why don't you ask him? I was like, dang, that's deep. I never really just called him and been like, yo, you up there? You real?
right,
You know what I'm saying? And like, I remember doing that and having an actual response and having
yeah,
my encounter personally. So it's like, for me personally, I can only tell you what it is to me. I can't tell you anything else. I can look at a lot of the systems and I see the flaws and I see what it is. And I can tell you like the biggest issue from point blank is people have faith in systems and people have faith in people. That is
yeah,
the biggest issue, like
yeah,
point blank period. Like, nah, experience him personally and learn who he is for yourself personally
yeah,
before you start seeking men. And, don't get me wrong, it's nothing wrong with that. We all need community and people are used as vessels for sure, but understand what's behind that first, like, because you're missing the whole point. Like when you
yeah.
when you go looking at people and looking
And
for people.
I think that was my issue, is that I looked too closely at the man preaching the word and not listening to the word, and
Mm,
forgetting that as men we're fallible.
yeah,
I don't know anybody who hasn't sinned, or ain't gonna sin in the future. And I think that holding that standard is probably why like I fell off the way I did.
yeah,
And I'm slowly getting back into it.
for
I
sure.
don't go every Sunday, but there are certain things, like we talked about earlier. There are certain things that I try to make part of my day every day. A repetition.
Yeah,
There's certain habits. If I don't do it every day, it messes my whole day up. You know, And
Yeah.
the same way we're sitting here talking about our faith. As men, people people are okay with us as men talking about our faith. People are okay with us with men as long as we're being strong, as long
Mhm.
as we're taking care of all the things that we need to be taken care of. But my question to you is, why is it that we can be all of those things and it be okay? But when we are tired, weak, in an emotionally bad place, why is it no longer safe for a man to simply tell people, I don't feel safe. I don't feel, I'm having a bad day. I'm feeling
Mhm.
weak. I'm tired. Why can't we do both?
Yeah. Man, I think that's a great question. I feel like it's a lot of different factors that play into that. I think the system that you have around you has to understand that too, because I even remember growing up and looking at my grandfather, looking at my father like they're just the superheroes, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Nothing affects them. Nothing
Right.
like, it's just why you see them in that light. There's certain men, so it's like they always seem to handle things good. So you don't never really think about what they're going through and how they feel. And it plays a part on them because they never really expressed it. They were never taught how to express it, first of all. I
Right.
had to learn how to express it. I wasn't taught how to express it, but they were not taught how to properly express it. And so everybody around them just assumes that what they assume about them. And I think
Right.
it plays into the system that you have around you of like being very transparent with them. Like, look, okay, this is how I'm feeling today. Even myself, I catch myself all the time to this day, like having like to fight against not allowing the people around me to know what's going on with me because it's like it's almost a natural sense of me just kind of being like closed off, like
Yes.
and I just start retracting, and then people get asking, yo, what's wrong, like, what I'm saying, and it's nothing, I'll take care of it, or this, that, and the third. And sometimes it's a moment thing because I feel like there are things that are more important right now
Yeah.
than this. But I think it plays into us as men, um being transparent with our household,
Right.
and I think that's one thing I'm gonna be very intentional with raising my son. And okay, it's okay to be transparent about how you feel.
Right.
Now, what's not okay is to go based off of just emotions and just act off your emotions. That's not
Yeah.
okay. That's never okay. But it
Yeah.
is okay to feel the way you feel. Even now as a toddler, I watch him, he gets in spells where he just cry and da 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 da. Da, and it's like, okay, that's okay that you feel this way. We still gonna go and do XYZ, but it's okay for you to express yourself. Like,
Right.
you can say how you feel. I'm never gonna punish you for that. Unless as long as it's within respect. Like, as long as you're not being disrespectful, okay, cool. Express yourself. But
Right.
at the end of the day, this is what it is though. Like, you know what I'm saying? You still have to handle your responsibilities as a man. And I think that's the balance between the two, and that's what needs to be taught to the younger generation, like it's two sides to it. Like, yes, it's okay. Like me and my wife, we always say we give each other one or two times to complain about something without action. That's our
Yeah.
thing. And we both like that. We can't
Yeah.
stand like just complainers. Like we're both the same way. It's like, okay,
Hey, I'm
I'ma
not
hear
mad.
you out one time. Cool, I'ma be there for you. And hey, if you need me, I'm here.
I got
I'ma
you.
hear you out. If you come back to me with the same thing, okay, I'm gonna give you a little more. If you come back the third time, I don't want to hear it without no
Right.
action, bro. Like, and I'm very like, even with my friends, my cousins that I'm very, very close with. That's how I am with them. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be for sure be a listener for you. I'm gonna for sure be there when you need me. You call me, you need me. I'm gonna hear you out. I'm gonna listen to you. I may not interrupt you. I may not say a word. I'll just be an ear for you. Second time, same thing. I understand and have cool. By the third time you call me on the same thing, bro, and
Right.
there's not no action being put in place, now we're gonna have a real conversation. All right, bro, you didn't call me three times about this, man. What we doing? Like, I know it's not gonna all be resolved in one time, but we gotta start making some steps about
Right. I love that strategy,
let's
though. I love
progress.
that.
Yeah. And I think that's as men, that's how we kind of hold each other accountable as
Right.
well. You know what I'm saying? Because I would want the same thing for me. Like, if I called you and you notice this is a cycle, let me know, bro. Like, hey, bro, you done mentioned this a couple of times. Like, have you been working on this? You've been taking any steps? What are you doing to like kind of help
Right.
this situation? Like, or are you just sitting in this situation? Like, that's not okay. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, man, that's outstanding. So listen, before we close and whatnot, got a couple more things for you.
Hmm.
So new music. What do you got coming out?
New music, so there are 2 more versions of Edge.
Okay.
They're very, very different. One of them, they're both more electronic versions,
Okay.
and one of them is releasing, May 15th.
Okay.
And it's pretty much kinda like a house version of Edge. It's has some of the lyrics in it, but a lot of the lyrics taken off. Is more of an instrumental bass version. It's like a
Okay.
daytime version, something that you will probably go out to brunch and hear. So
Okay.
it's like that version, and then it's a nighttime version that's to be announced. It hasn't been set for release yet,
Okay.
and it's gonna be more like a party version, like a nighttime version, like
Okay.
somewhere you would go to a lounge or something like that, and you'll probably hear this version playing. And then we also have my new singles that's in the work. It's set to be released August. It's called La Di Da, and La Di Da is definitely it's very much still hip hop, but it's definitely gonna sound a lot different.
Okay.
It's heavily inspired by like 80s music,
Okay.
and it's kind of like taking the flip off of that sound and putting a hip hop flow on it, some melodies on it, and just talking on some real society subjects that I felt was
Yeah.
very important to speak on.
I
The
love it,
main
man.
theme is greed,
I
and it's
love 80s
and
music
like
too.
yes, yeah, I was heavily influenced by early 80s. Even though I'm a 90s baby, like I
Yeah, yeah.
had a lot of people
Hey,
that was playing a lot of different things around me, so it kind of played just being influenced by a lot of these different things. I love incorporating them in my sound, because it's a part of who I am, the way I feel. And I think it's dope too because especially in this climate that we're in, as like just as well as like the nation,
yes.
I feel like it's a very important message that's behind it. It's not just super down though. It's very gonna be something that's gonna have a lot of bounce to it. So I feel like if people don't even listen to the words, they're gonna listen to the vibe of it and they're gonna like the vibe. But for the people that really listen to lyrics and they hear what I'm saying, they're gonna be like,
Yeah.
oh, I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. Like,
Outstanding. Let's go. All right. So last question. Okay. So this is you giving another man advice. And
mhm.
so for the man listening, who feels unseen, unheard, and under pressure, what message do you want to leave him with today?
Man, first of all, I would definitely say understand that there are people that you have a reason on this earth. You have a purpose on this earth. There
Right.
are people that care about your well-being. There are people that care about the way you feel. There are people that love you. You know what I'm saying? Definitely understand that first and foremost. Um, because just knowing that alone, is the world, no matter what I go through outside, when I come home, I know it's love. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I can take all the punches that I'll, just take being a black man here
Yeah.
and come back home and know that I'm loved. And know that somebody loves you. And I think just knowing that is important. Um, and also just, you know what I'm saying, if you don't feel heard, I somebody always told me go to where, you appreciate it. Cause I feel like a lot of us, we are around people, and I don't even care if it's your own family. Um, we be around people that just tolerate us. Go and find a group of people that appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? That welcome you. You know what I'm saying? Don't
Mhm.
ever go and be in a space where you're unwelcome. I don't care where that space is at. Go where you're welcome,
Yes,
and
sir.
it's somebody out here that's wanting and willing to hear you and listen to you. You know what I'm saying? That will appreciate you as a man, as a person.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ashton Stevens. Hey, Ashton, thank you so much, man, for coming on the show.
For sure.
Listen, as your music comes out, please tag me in it. I will be happy to, share it with whomever. At this point, whoever wants to listen to it.
Yeah.
I will repost it for you. Not a problem.
And
So,
I really appreciate that.
hey,
I definitely
absolutely, man.
appreciate it.
Hey, congratulations on the new baby.
Thank you.
I'm wishing you nothing but good things in the future. And listen, if you ever get the inclination where you want to come back on the show, you got something that you want to get off your chest, something you excited about. Heck, man, if you want to wait till that new baby comes out and you got some new stress going on and you want to talk about, you are more you have, my door is always open for you.
Thank you. Thank you,
All
man.
right. Hey, have a good day. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for us today. Mr. Ashton Stevens, sorry. Hey, thank you again. And we'll see you guys next time.